You know, if you were born and raised and grow up in the Commonwealth of Virginia versus the state of Virginia, there are actually four commonwealths, and they're the same as states, but kind of different, and frankly, that means nothing to anyone except a Virginian. And that's what I am. I remember in Richmond, Virginia, my hometown, when I was a little boy, being told to always walk on the right side of Broad Street, which is the main street downtown, versus the wrong side of Broad Street. What they meant by that, by the right side, was the white side. The wrong side of Broad Street was, well, white folks didn't walk there. You know, if you're from Virginia, you love history. If you're a boy in Richmond, Virginia, you know that Patrick Henry uttered those famous words, "Give me liberty," or "Give me death," from St. John's Church right there in Richmond. And you know that Thomas Jefferson on his tombstone didn't call attention to being the President of the United States. There's only three things on his tombstone. It says, writer of the Declaration of Independence, father of the University of Virginia, and author of the Virginia Statutes on religious freedom. Religious freedom. Religious freedom. Religious freedom being freedom of religion and freedom from religion were on my mind a lot last week when the Commonwealth of Virginia became the first state in the Old South to say that banning same-sex marriage was against the Constitution. History. If you're from Virginia, you learn to love history. If you're from the South, you learn to love it and sometimes hate it, all in the same breath. So making history is a big deal. Virginia, the site of the first Thanksgiving, the first colony to propose independence at the Congressional Convention back in 1776, the site of the last battle of the Revolution and the last battle of the Civil War, became the first state of the Old South to say that banning marriage between two people of the same sex was unconstitutional. I think Thomas Jefferson would have liked that because, among other things, Thomas Jefferson was a slave owner and also the father of a good many children by his black mistress. I think he would have appreciated knowing now that that no longer would be against the law in the Old South. You know that phrase, the Old South, it reminds me of what Margaret Mitchell, author of Gone with the Wind, once said. The Old South, a land of cavaliers and cotton fields, of knights and their ladies fair, but look for it only in books, for it is a civilization gone with the wind. You know, anti-gay prejudice is not quite gone with the wind, but at least in Virginia, last week, you could feel the winds of change a-blowin'. And one day, for LGBT members, Broad Street will have only a right side. I'm David Perry.